I have in front of me, the slides on the diversity training and the equity and the inclusion training. How much money and time do we really spend on that? Can we get a better sense to help educate everyone?
I can provide you, exact information for the record, but I will tell you, most of our training, and most of our focus is on the readiness of the force. And part of that readiness of the force is to ensure that we're building cohesive teams, and part of those cohesive teams is to get to know our airmen to left and our right.
And I appreciate that. And one of the things it talks about in one of your slides is not to recognize people as moms and dads. I mean, as a mother, I take a little bit of offense to that. It also talks about not using the word terrorist. Can you explain why we wouldn't use the word terrorist and mom and dad? I think you got to get that message out, because I think a lot of people are really frustrated and they feel like we're polarizing as opposed to coming together.
What I would tell you is that what I perceive is we're misreading some of the aspects of the things we're trying to do as we move the Air Force forward, and then we look at how we build cohesive teams.
General Brown, I do have to ask you a question that sort of stems from what Ms. McLean was asking about. She showed you this curriculum from the Air Force Academy, and she asked you why the terms mom and dad were disfavored. And you said that you're working to build cohesive teams. So just wondering, how do the terms mom and dad impair cohesive team building?
Part of leadership is understanding the people you're privileged to lead. And as you have that opportunity, you get to know them. And every one of us grows up differently and has different experiences, different backgrounds. And we can't assume when we engage with them. And so from that perspective, you've got to to build that team and to build that trust with our airmen. In part because that trust is part of the cohesion that gives you the strong team to be able to go execute what the nation asks us to do.
I understand better than most that families at times aren't defined by blood or even paperwork, and I know you have to recruit folks from different family environments into the Air Force. But do you think maybe it puts downward pressure on recruiting some of the people who do have moms and dads and do use the term mom and dad, if in the curriculum of the academy it seems to disfavor those terms?
No, I don't.
And what's your basis for that belief?
Because I think part of leadership is dignity and respect of those you're privileged to lead.
You don't think it disrespects people?
I do not.
You don't think it disrespects moms and dads when they send their young children, I guess becoming adults, into the academy, and then they see that mom and dad are disfavored terms? Do you agree that mom and dad should be disfavored terms?
I think we need to respect the fact that they have either parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles that sometimes raised young people.
Sure, but I mean, I know folks who've been raised by aunts and uncles, and none of them have ever told me that when they hear someone else call their parent mom or dad, that upsets them. Do you know of people who feel excluded when others refer to their parents as mom or dad?
I don't, or either way, whether it's aunts, uncles, moms, and dads, I have not come across anyone.
If I could,
sure.
The point of that slide, I'm familiar with it, came out of the Air Force Academy. It was actually created by cadets for training, and it's not very artful, but the point was that you shouldn't, it was not to diminish moms and dads. It was to just make people aware that that particular family configuration is not the...
I don't know, Mr. Secretary. It says that you want to use parents, caregivers, or guardians instead of mom and dad. So when you say instead of, it kind of does seem to disfavor it. And I appreciate not every slide is perfect, and if you're saying this is inartful and we're not going to try to disfavor mom or dad or make people feel bad, I think that would be progress to hear.
You're correct. It was inartful.
Great.
I don't think they're using that slide anymore.
And one thing the chairman and I certainly would not take exception with is that you seem to favor the term y'all. So no objection there.